Test automation is software development. It's a software project within the big one.
Yeah.
Definitely, do not underestimate test automation. So I don't have 500 test cases. I am not the fan. I have maybe 15, but they really cover, I don't know, 80% of the most things. It's like if you search for something at home, it means your system is not good enough. Create a parallel one. This is the old word, you will have the new word.
Welcome to Software Testing Unleashed. My name is Richie and I'm happy to share another episode from the TestCon 5 conference from Mauritius with you. My guest today was Lilia Gargouri. We talked about end-to-end test automation at scale, how one small HTML attribute from 2017 still pays off today, why clean code and naming rules save you from the maintenance trap, and what to do with an old Flaky test suite. That's all you hear now in this episode, and enjoy. Hi Lilia, great to have you on the show here.
Richie, it's so nice being here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
And bringing topics at every conference, basically.
Yes, it's. I think I'm on every conference now. No, and I love it to share insights with the community. And we are here on Mauritius, and no, not everybody is able to be here at the conference. So with this podcast, we have a little opportunity to give some of the knowledge and the content also to the community worldwide. So that's always a good thing.
Unfortunately, you didn't have the minister.
Yeah,
He talked really brilliantly today about ethics and software development.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
And I was really fascinated that a politician minister has so deep knowledge into IT and software
technology.
development.
I tell you why he was software developer.
Yes,
you mentioned
he was,
this,
yeah,
so
yeah.
this is the thing, yeah.
Yeah, great. I think other countries can look at that.
Yes.
Yeah, but now we want to talk about your topic you also presented here on the TestCon conference, and it's about I would say modern state-of-the-art end-to-end testing. How do we do it nowadays?
Absolutely. It's about end-to-end testing at scale, scaling automation, and especially end-to-end. So you are on the big peak of the test pyramid. This is a lot of flakiness. And if you ask people how many time you spend in automation for what, they will say 40% flakiness in maintenance.
Yeah.
It's not fun. So you get very quickly in the maintenance trap, the same problem. So I am not bringing new problems. Yeah. But the thing is, we are still struggling with these problems. And if you use AI, you are augmenting very fast the problems as well.
Yeah.
So it's not about generating very fast the code, is how can I scale this?
Yeah.
And in my company, we do automation for big projects in e-government. So it's enterprise software, which means you deal with very high complexity of business. Plus, it's a long life application in the terms of 25 years old, changing with cycles, releases, and you have maintenance of existing thing, but also evolving things. So it's scaling. Even the number of your tests is scaling. So your test execution time is scaling. Your maintenance is scaling. How can you deal with this? So it's really struggling with this, and many people, they come very fast into many problems. This is because you start without having a clear strategy.
What can a clear strategy be for such an environment?
I like this question.
Yeah, I hope.
The first of all, before many people start already generating the tests and implementation and whatever, is not. The first thing is, and because we talk about UI, and in my presentation it was web UI, because internationally 80 to 90% of the applications are still web UI. So it's the most automation is web UI worldwide. And the first thing to talk about is how can I recognize accurately every single smart component on the UI of my application. So you have HTML page or whatever, how can I accurately target one small tiny thing? And now it can happen that this tiny thing is icon button. It's a picture inside and it's very small. It's the garbage, the delete button. But you have 50 delete buttons in the table. Now target the specific one you want. So there are many skills. First of all, to improve the testability, the first thing we did, and this is something I can really recommend to anyone, is first of all, improve the HTML, the quality of your HTML. Otherwise, it's really pain every time. It's like you solve the problem just temporarily, but it's not a permanent solution. So the solution is to increase the testability. We added an HTML attribute only for test purposes. We call it data rule attribute. You can call it test ID or for testing purposes attribute. And you give it a value. And this attribute is only for testing purposes. It is a must-have required. If it's missing, you raise a bug ticket for the developer. So it's a must-have. Then consistent over all your application. And never change. So it's always there. And now you can start building sustainable, stable recognition. So what we did is, first of all, we introduced this attribute. This was the decision 2017. You see how we are reaping the benefits of this decision. Automation is about very tiny decisions that bring efficiency in sum together. So one of them was the data role attribute to improve the testability. The second thing, now I have data role attribute, I start mapping them to the test automation class so that this is recognized, this attribute value is recognized to a table, to a row, to a cell, to, I don't know, icon button, info button, I don't know. This is the second thing. And the piece of the mapper, the piece of software that doing the mapping, we centralize this on one place. So that you have the maintenance, the implementation is central. And if you open the browser, immediately after opening the browser, you have the mapper. So now you can have a lot of test cases everywhere in every test suite. Your tool recognizes accurately every element. This is the first thing. Secondly, we improve this small, tiny solution with some small script where we use the attribute like ARIA label, attribute of accessibility, because we have a lot of e-government. So we test implicitly even accessibility. It's one shot is done manually so that the value of the accessibility attributes are meaningful to the blind people or others. And then in our scripts, we are extracting this valuable information to enrich the identity of the UI elements. It's brilliant, basically, because if you read the code, you know what's about. Because it's for the blind people, it's also for me. It's very meaningful. So this is the second thing. The third thing is, so, as I mentioned with the garbage icon, but you can have a text field name and you have many sections and the name field existing in many sections. So now I want that one, the fifth one. So the thing is, and this is also a brilliant decision, is to say, I have a big HTML test tool for you. Only this small section exists. The DOM doesn't exist. It's just this piece of thing. It's the HTML that exists for you. So the rest is gone. So now in this, so this is the HTML page now for the, So for you, this section, and now I can target the UI element. Now, because you removed a lot, you can target accurately your stuff as small. If you make it small, your scope is called the scope. You can target very precisely because it's so small. Now you can accurately, and now you get stable runs. You can make reruns and you rely on it. It's not flaky. Because the combination of all of this together. And one of the other decisions is you can make it generic. You can make the labels. So we use identification by label. So text field. So it's a text field with the label name. So you can say, okay, it's not a good approach for us. For a government, it is good because they don't change the labels of the input fields. So it's stable. Maybe one time, two times, but that's it. is really stable. So I target the by name, so I can read the code easily and analyze the code easily. This is the thing. And the other thing is, you can, if your application is multi-language, you can put this in an Excel file and say Italian, English, I don't know, and you run, the ID is generic.
Yeah.
You say dollar label and get the label from there. Depending on my login, I can get the right language.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, it's the same code, is one line, the same ID, the same line of code is running on with different language. So you don't duplicate the code at all.
Yeah.
So you see, there are many generic things that making identification brilliant, right? Yeah. This is just one aspect. Now we can dive deeper if you want, but this is really the beginning.
Yeah, I like the idea because it has nothing to do with all the AI stuff, and so it's really solving a problem we have in end-to-end test automation since years now, and we often pack things above it and try to solve it, but these are real solutions for to make it more testable and maintainable. Yeah.
Yes, and you know, there are people still using XPath and whatever, or IDs that are concatenated, and then in maintenance. So if this line of code fails, you have first to split them, say which one is, and now imagine it, you are in the testing phase and you run out of time and you are under pressure already, and you have first to analyze, is it bug or feature? So you have to split this concatenated IDs to know which one. The sadness is you have to repeat this each time this line of code is failing. This is crazy, right? Why you do this?
Yeah, so true. So that gives us the possibility to test better the UI front, and then so what's the strategy?
Okay, so the second, so this is the first thing. We didn't start implementation yet, right? We did just the recognition, brilliant. The second step is still not the automation. The second step is assess and design your test cases and think, because it's not about quick, and is I need only the criticals, the very, very valuable scenarios that make a difference. So I don't have 500 test cases. I am not the fan. I have maybe 15, but they really cover, I don't know, 80% of the most things. So if they are green, we can talk about the rest. So you see it. So this is a strategical decision. So now you have to say, and this is what I present, there are 3 pillars that assess the quality of one test case. It's like, you know, you go a journey and you have a backpack and you go for walking for a long time. So if it's heavy, you have a problem, right? And a test case is 1 stone and you are packing this in your backpack. And I have to walk for over years because it's a long life application. So I have to decide, do I want this? You know, some people has refrigerators in the backpack. Do you want this? So the first pillar of a test case is the scenario. What do I need this? Do I need this? What is the focus? Sometimes you don't even have a clear focus. So clarify the focus. What is it critical? You have steps in your test case. Do I need this step? If I remove it, is it still the same coverage? This is the same scenario and philosophy. Where? So minimize to the minimum. So it's not blindly taking from the test management tool and making automation and redundancy and everything. I don't do this. So we assess this and we squeeze this to what is the core essence of this test case. This is first the scenario. The second part is, you know, you can have a brilliant scenario, but you use, and I hate this, people are using test data ABC 1, 2, 3 everywhere. No value. You know, very expensive automation without any value. And this is boundary, you know, for ISTQB foundation level. So which boundary should I use? What equivalence classes? Why I need this? So think about the test data you are using in this expensive test case and choose the best ones and with the target, because you have to cover something with this ones. And then Are they reusable? How can I generate them in a sustainable way? It should scale and it should survive, and the maintainability is also the test data. And then the third thing is the implementation. Now we can say, no, I do it manually. So if you do it manually, and you miss one step you change the philosophy of the test case. You change the coverage, you change everything. If you do it on automation, now we talk about automation implementation, how to implement it in a way that the maintenance is low, that the test automation nevertheless is low, and this stuff. Now we go to the next chapter of this talk. So this was, and then after defining, now I treat you so hard to evaluate which test case. Now, let's say you define your backlog. Still, we don't start. Please do not. Now, assess. I can prioritize my backlog by, depending on my strategy, on my situation, and the project. I can say, okay, the business criticals first. I take them first and automate them very quickly so that I can see them. And if Jenkins is green, I am good at least for the criticals. I can say, no. I pick up the test cases where manual tester, if they do this manually, it takes long time. If I do this, I relieve my manual tester team, and then they can focus on new features or something. This is a better strategy, maybe. You can say, okay, I cover the happy paths, or you can say I cover the most used, I don't know. So there are many factors that can change your mind, and depending on the here and now and your strategy. So the backlog is not 1 to 100, so I go forward. So this is also the thing. And then you start implementation. Now you have everything done on purpose. Right?
A great foundation for then implementing the test cases.
Absolutely. And now the first thing I said after this, so now we start, so software test automation is, and I am software developer. I did 15 years software development before moving to quality engineering and automation at scale, 12 years. So on top. So I can tell test automation is software development. It's a software project within the big one. Definitely. Do not underestimate test automation. So software, because it is software, it has also architecture. So you need a framework, architecture. So the framework we use is really, by chance, I didn't know about it, but identical to IST Kubernetes Automation Advanced. Is you have 3 layers. So you have the core libraries, and then you have the business logic, and on the top you have the test scripts, which means on the top you have the test cases and the test suites. And the test cases call the procedures which are handling the business. And the business logic, and the business logic is calling the libraries. And regarding the libraries, we did many layers of libraries. One is straightforward and is given by the test automation tool. They have their own standard libraries. It's not enough for me. We build a library cross-project so that not every project reinvent the wheel. And there are functionalities like browser switch tab. Why should we implement this in every project everywhere? It's a library, the company library for automation, for example. Then we have the project library where, for example, you have the context menu. It's everywhere the same UI in the application. You click the 3 dots, it opens the context menu, and then you select the action. One procedure doing this, it just give her, I want the action, blah, and it's doing this for you. Why everyone making a test case have to implement, you see? And then now you have a good foundation with libraries. Every time you see that you are inventing something, you put it in the right library. And then you have a nice thing, email library for testing emails, PDF library for testing the PDF content, so that you prepare first a solid foundation to be used. Why? Because then you accelerate and facilitate the automation, not only for one project, for all the projects within the company, depending on the thing. This is, so first the framework, and then now we go further and say, you have a clear structure, clear structure, naming convention. Here, the naming convention we do, so I invented the convention. You can invent your own convention. The important thing is use it everywhere, all time. is your convention is fine, but use it. This is because you guarantee the clean code everywhere.
Yeah.
And my convention is simple, is action and associated with business. So the action is enter or check because you have input field. So there is enter something in the input field or check the value of the input field. So enter or check or click if you have buttons on the footer or on the header. So action. And then the business, it means the label. So enter name is you are putting something in the text field name or whatever. The technical identification of the UI is not part of my wording.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care. It can be a checkbox, it's enter.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. It can be a radio button, but it's enter. It can be a date picker and it's enter.
Yeah.
And it's not enter date picker, it's enter and the label of this date picker. I don't know. It can be from to sometimes, yeah?
Yeah.
So I know my application.
Yeah.
If I close my eyes, I can navigate through my application. So yeah, my application with my business. Yeah. So if I read later the code, I understand where I am and what I am doing. Straightforward. You don't need to, if you have new colleagues, and there is a study by Red Code, they are telling you to onboard a new colleague, you can decrease the time 4 times lower. So it's multiplied by 4 if you have clean code. Yeah. You don't need to bring many. So the structure in what we do in automation is exactly the same as on the UI. So you can navigate in your UI, you can navigate in my code. And then because we use this naming convention, you can read what we are doing. Yeah. So if you tap yourself searching for something, where did we implement this and where? I don't ask this question. If you tap yourself doing this, you are missing classification, structure, something. Yeah. It's not. It's like if you search for something at home. It means your system is not good enough. Yeah. So how to structure the thing? So structure is really because it have to scale, it have to survive, it have to be for a long time. You have new colleagues coming in and out all the time and things. So if at the end of the story in the test case, because you call the procedures, right? You can read what you are going because it's meaningful. Yeah. You can understand what we are doing in this test case very quickly.
You need less this documentation because you can read the test case and the results and see what is
happening. And the thing is, yes, it is a discipline, but it's meaningful and bringing a lot of efficiency. So if someone joined my team for 2 weeks or sometimes 2 months, depending on the person, you are still working on one single test case. Why? Till you absorb the naming convention and you absorb that you have to use it everywhere. Yeah. And you stick to this. You don't make the rules just for fun. Yeah. It's really because they bring the value at the end of the story. Yeah, it's many tiny small things, but together they bring this. This efficiency, this easiness to analyze the test report. This was one of the chapter of this presentation. So just to close the implementation, design pattern, design principles is software development, and you have to use it also in automation. Yeah. So so a lot of this, and the chapter after it. Should I continue?
Yeah, sure. Okay. It's great flow here.
So after this, I brought the chapter of my application is a long life one, so the number of test cases is scaling. Automatically, the test execution time is scaling. And the maintenance, we said we have clean code and so on, so the maintenance is really low. Why? Because we have modularization everywhere, centralization everywhere, generic stuff, so that if something change, I have maybe, if I am lucky, one place. If you search for an ID or something and you find 500 findings, this is a ticking bomb. Why? They changed something and you have a release candidate, you have a rough time for testing, and now this changed. And it's not a bug, it's a feature. So now maintain 500 findings very quickly and make them working again. It's really bringing a value. It's because it's critical. Okay, and now let's talk about how to make the execution. So we talked about the identification of the components. This brings the stability in the execution. There is also busy application busy detector. This we build it also on top of this resolver or the mapper. So application busy, as long as you see the spinner, you wait. This is not the sleep time, because the sleep time is accumulating. We analyzed one by one project. We had 40 test suites. Only the sleep time, you see, just 2 milliseconds here, 2 milliseconds here. You don't. It was 2 hours in total for one run.
Yeah, right.
Losing time for nothing. You see, so it's really important to keep an eye on this. Don't say, I have Flakiness, sleep time is helpful, go for it.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Because you don't solve the problem at the root of the problem. You are just making, it's like you have an injury, you just put something quick on this just temporarily, basically. And this is one point. And then to bring the stability, you have also to make your test environment always up to date. You are dealing with a lot of software versions, the browser version, the Java version, the Gradle version. It's all impacting you, your system and the test version, your test automation solution, and the test tool is changing everything. And they have to, they have together to be stable by working together. And then the last thing is, if you start your test cases, the test run, make sure that there is, in this environment, it can be a virtual machine, for example, or container, or I don't know, that there are no other jobs running here in parallel. Why? You will have side effects and problems that are not your problems. And you get crazy. Why? Because it's impacting you and you don't know what happens. And you are guessing, now, is it a bug in my application or something weird? It can influence also the performance. And then it's not working smoothly. So make sure that you don't have this. And another thing is, another process is changing exactly the same data you are testing with. This is hard because you get exceptions and stuff. So make sure that you don't have this. And then to bring flexibility in the test runs, we did modularization. So modularization in the code. Now modularization in the meaning of each test case is a unit. And it's modular and independent. So before me is after me. I don't care. So you can put it everywhere. You can bring things together without having big deals. What does it mean? If I make impact analysis, I say I need this topic, this, I can bring them together in a test run. Why? Because I am modular. And the test suites are modular as well, and they are designed or separated by topic. So business. If a test suite gets longer, takes time in the run longer than 1 hour, 1 hour is now my limit. You can define your limit, say 30 minutes or 5 minutes, I don't know, each one, So because my test cases are modular, I can split it easily in 2 subtopics. I don't care. So I bring flexibility. And then I can now strategically, in my situation, say, okay, I run the smoke test first, and then the integration test, and then I go in the functional. If this one is not working, I don't need to go further. I stop here and fix the criticals, or I don't know. So you have the control over the things. You can, depending on the situation, can have the weird situations. For example, I have a business application runs on many on Electron and web, and so the Electron with the test automation tool, they did an update, so it's not working now. So I cannot run these tests. So we cannot go live. This is Electron. I can run them on web. The same test, the same code. It's just the other technology. I cannot run them. It's just the precondition changed by open browser instead of open this Electron application. But the rest, the test cases are modular. It took us 5 minutes to run the web tests, and we had results, functional results even, not only integration, till they fixed the problem with Electron. So you see, you can bring flexibility.
It's a great flow through the test automation and how we should do it in the best case. I think it sounds so clear, but often companies just don't do it on any things. But what would you suggest, or what do you have for a tip for someone who has now an old end-to-end test suite there with flaky tests, with not a good structure, with not good identifiers? Where to start and how? Because it's all a big system. And what is your tip to start in such a situation?
And it happens, yes. And if I would join your team, or if I tell you, okay, how to start. First of all, separate. So this is your old project. It's called test automation solution. So it's your repo. Let's say your repo, you in Git.
Yeah.
Create a parallel one. This is the old word. You will have the new word. At one point you will just switch totally, and start the clean. First of all, the clean structure in a repo is not by mistake. You have a clean structure of the template of the project, and start here implementing the new test cases in the new structure with the naming convention and building the things. Okay. And now you can tell me, okay, but I need the procedures and the library. Pick up the valuable ones from your old thing. Okay. And by picking this way, I took over as software developer in a project, the automation. It was exactly the situation, yeah? And now in the mess, pick one by one the valuable things and build your library and build your core library and build your business things and build them, enhance them, improve them in clean code. Yeah. And then you build slightly then your best solution.
You migrate them from the old world to the new world.
But really step by step and very careful. It will take you time, but there is always a beginning. Yeah. And if you want to walk 10 kilometers, you will start by one step. And if you don't do it, you will not come to the 10 kilometers. You can forget about it and still, get angry every day about your flakiness and waste 40% of your working time. And this is a quality of life in maintenance. Yeah. I'm not sure about this. So it's a quality of life, I would say.
That's a great point, and that I think we have to work for. Lilia, thank you so much that you were here in the podcast. It's a great way. I think there are so many impulses and insights there we can now take in our job, and hopefully a lot of people get their end-to-end tests now better than before. Thank you so much. Have a great conference.
Thank you so much.
See you soon.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.